In a small village nestled between rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived a man known simply as Cole. He was a figure of intrigue, often seen wandering the fields with a gentle smile and an air of calmness that seemed to soothe even the most restless horses. Cole had a remarkable ability. He could communicate with these majestic animals in ways no one else could understand. To him, every whinny and neigh carried meaning, and he often spent hours listening to their stories, sharing secrets only he could comprehend. The villagers regarded him with mixed feelings. Some admired his bond with the horses, believing it was a gift from nature. They would watch in awe as he approached a frightened stallion, whispering soft words that would bring calm. Others, however, viewed him with suspicion. They feared what they did not understand and whispered tales of witchcraft and dark magic behind his back. Despite this, Cole remained unbothered by the rumors. His heart belonged to the wild places where the horses roamed free, and he felt a deep connection to the earth itself. Little did anyone know that this bond would soon draw him into a web of darkness that would change everything. Cole's fascination with animals began in childhood, when he would spend hours exploring the fields with his father, a kind farmer. They often visited a nearby stable where horses roamed freely, kicking up dust and grazing lazily in the sun. One day, while playing hide-and-seek among the tall grass, Cole came across a young colt that appeared frightened and alone. Instead of running away, he approached it slowly, speaking softly. To his amazement, the colt calmed down and nuzzled his hand. From that moment on, Cole felt a special connection to horses. He spent countless afternoons at the stable, observing their behavior and learning how to understand their subtle cues. As he grew older, he discovered that he could hear whispers in their nickers and snorts, messages that no one else seemed to notice. It was as if a secret language existed only between them. His ability grew stronger, and he soon became known for helping distressed horses find peace. Yet, even in these tender moments, doubt crept into the hearts of some villagers. They couldn't quite accept that a simple man could possess such an extraordinary gift, planting the seeds of mistrust that would later take root in darker times. As time went on, Cole became a well-known, if somewhat controversial, figure in the village. Those who appreciated his unique skill would often seek him out for advice on caring for their horses. They would marvel at his ability to calm even the wildest animal, and many whispered tales of his kindness and gentleness. Children would watch with wide eyes as he communicated with the horses, convinced he was a man of magic. However, not everyone shared this admiration. A group of villagers viewed Cole's gift with suspicion, convinced that something unnatural lay behind his talent. They often gathered at the local tavern to share their growing unease, whispering about dark forces and strange happenings. Rumors flew like autumn leaves, suggesting that Cole might be a sorcerer or a witch who could control beasts against their will. This division created an atmosphere of tension in the village. While some people brought him treats or asked for his help with their horses, others would turn away or look down their noses as he walked by. Cole remained largely unfazed by these judgments, but he sensed the undercurrents of fear and distrust bubbling just beneath the surface, a feeling that would soon escalate into something far more dangerous. One fateful evening, the village was rocked by a shocking discovery. 3 men were found dead in the woods, their bodies lying motionless under the trees. The news spread like wildfire, and fear gripped the hearts of the villagers. Whispers filled the air, suggesting foul play, and eyes quickly turned toward Cole, the man who spoke to horses. Though there was no evidence linking him to the tragedy, many villagers remembered their suspicions about his abilities. They began to connect the dots in their minds, convinced that his strange gift had something to do with the deaths. In hushed conversations at the market and around flickering fires, they speculated about dark magic and revenge. As tension escalated, a group of men confronted Cole while he was tending to a horse in the stable. They demanded answers, accusing him of being involved in the men's demise. Cole, bewildered and hurt, tried to explain that he had been nowhere near the scene but struggled to make them believe him. Their accusations grew louder, drowning out his words as fear transformed into anger. Little did Cole know that this confrontation would set into motion events that would alter his life forever. As the investigation into the murders began, the village transformed into a place filled with whispers and pointed fingers. Onlookers gathered at the courthouse, eager to learn more about the events surrounding the deaths. Despite calls for justice, Cole remained silent during questioning, choosing not to defend himself against accusations that felt like a storm he couldn't control. The local authorities, pressured by the villagers' growing demands for answers, struggled to unravel the truth. Rumors flooded through every corner of the village. Some claimed they had seen Cole near the woods on that fateful night, while others recounted tales that twisted his gifts into something sinister. Fear took on a life of its own, fueling a frenzy of distrust as neighbors turned against each other. What was once a close-knit community began to fragment, leaving no room for compassion or reason. The only sounds in the dimly lit interrogation room were Cole's steady breaths and distant murmurs from outside. In his heart, he knew he could clear his name, but something kept him from speaking. Perhaps it was fear, or perhaps an instinct to remain connected with the voice of nature that had always guided him. As tensions reached a boiling point in the village, Cole's silence would prove to be a double-edged sword. Throughout the turmoil, the horses remained a crucial part of Cole's life, providing him with comfort and companionship. Rather than turning away from him, the horses seemed to sense his distress and responded with unusual behavior. They would gather around him in the stable, gently nudging him with their noses as if to reassure him that he was not alone. Watching them, Cole often felt they understood his struggle in ways that humans could not. Some villagers noticed this peculiar connection and began to speculate. They observed how the horses would act restless before a storm or calm, as if sensing his emotional state. A few even claimed the horses whispered secrets of their own, hinting at truths hidden from human understanding. This strange bond between Cole and the horses stirred curiosity and fear alike. Some believed it was a sign of his power over nature, while others thought it foreshadowed doom. As fear continued to spread through the village, certain villagers began to interpret the horses' behaviors through their own lenses of suspicion. With each flick of an ear or soft whinny echoing in the stable, it became clear that these animals might hold the keys to mysteries that transcended mere human comprehension, truths that could either save Cole or seal his fate. As Cole stood in the stable, memories washed over him like a gentle breeze. He recalled the day he first met Luna, a spirited mare with a wild heart. She had been skittish, pacing nervously as he approached. Instead of backing away, Cole knelt in the soft hay and whispered soothing words. Slowly, she inched closer, allowing him to brush her mane. That moment marked the beginning of a deep friendship built on trust and understanding. There was also the time he rescued a young foal caught in a bramble patch. With tender care, he freed the frightened creature, speaking softly to calm its racing heart. As the foal nuzzled against him afterward, Cole felt a warmth spread through him, a connection that transcended words. These moments revealed the essence of Cole's character, his patience, kindness, and unwavering love for these creatures. The horses were not just animals to him. They were companions and confidants who shared a unique bond. In their presence, he felt truly alive, and in return, he dedicated his life to ensuring their well-being. Yet, as the weight of suspicion loomed over him, Cole feared that the very bond he cherished might become a source of his undoing. As the turmoil in the village deepened, themes of communication, silence, and misunderstanding became increasingly evident. Cole's unique ability to speak with horses had always set him apart, allowing him to connect with the animals in ways no one else could. Yet, when faced with accusations, his choice to remain silent during questioning created a rift. To the villagers, his silence felt like an admission of guilt, feeding their fears and suspicions. The very bond he cherished with the horses, which had once brought him joy and comfort, now became a source of misunderstanding. As villagers speculated about his gifts, they misinterpreted his quiet demeanor as evidence of dark intentions. Whispers circulated about his silent exchanges with the horses, twisting them into sinister tales that suggested he was hiding secrets rather than seeking understanding. Cole's intention to find peace within himself and his surroundings ultimately backfired. Instead of fostering a sense of connection, his silence only deepened the villagers' mistrust. As tensions reached a tipping point, it became clear that miscommunication had dire consequences. Fear poisoned relationships, turning neighbors into adversaries and leading to false convictions that would haunt Cole for the rest of his days. The trial began in a small, crowded courtroom, where the tension was palpable. Villagers filled the benches, their faces a mix of curiosity and hostility, as whispers of guilt surrounded Cole like a storm cloud. The judge, a stern man with little patience for distractions, called for order as the prosecutor presented snippets from testimonies that painted a damning picture of Cole. Witnesses, fueled by fear and suspicion, recounted stories that twisted Cole's actions into sinister interpretations. One villager claimed to have seen him lurking near the woods on the night of the murders, while another spoke of eerie sounds they heard coming from the stable after dark. Each account seemed to further entrench Cole in a web of falsehoods, even though none provided concrete evidence. Cole sat quietly at the defendant's table, his heart heavy as he listened to the accusations. He wanted to speak out, to explain that he had been nowhere near the scene, but words eluded him. The villagers' growing anger echoed through the courtroom, turning once friendly faces into those of fierce accusers. Despite his deep love for horses and the truth, Cole felt himself sliding further into despair as doubt consumed the hearts of those he once called neighbors. As the final day of the trial arrived, tension crackled in the air. The villagers had gathered for what they believed would be a resolution to the chaos that had gripped their lives. With the verdict looming, emotions ran high as Cole faced the judge and the glaring eyes of those who once knew him. The prosecution's closing arguments fueled the flames of conviction, leading them to believe that justice lay in punishing the man who spoke to horses. In a surprising twist, however, a soft whinny echoed from outside the courtroom just as the judge prepared to deliver his verdict. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned toward the door. Luna, the mare Cole had once rescued, stood at the entrance, her head held high and her gaze fixed on Cole. With a sudden burst, she trotted into the courtroom, causing an unexpected stir among the crowd. Witnesses gasped as Luna walked directly to Cole, nuzzling against him as if proclaiming his innocence. For a fleeting moment, the atmosphere shifted, and whispers of doubt began to spread among the villagers. Just as hope flickered in Cole's heart, he knew it might be too late. Yet the sight of Luna drew out something unexpected, a reminder of love and loyalty that even fear couldn't fully extinguish. In the aftermath of the trial, as Cole faced his fate, the villagers were left to grapple with the consequences of their actions. The story of the man who spoke to horses became a haunting reminder of how judgment without understanding can lead to tragic outcomes. Many reflected on their behavior, realizing that their fear and suspicion had clouded their judgment and driven them to falsely accuse an innocent man. Cole's silence, which many had interpreted as guilt, was actually a reflection of his profound connection to nature and the creatures he loved. The villagers had failed to seek understanding, allowing rumors and misunderstandings to fester. In their haste to find someone to blame for the murders, they overlooked the truth about Cole's character and his genuine love for animals. As they went about their lives, whispers of regret filled the air. They recognized that their misplaced trust in sensational stories had cost them not only a friend but also the warmth of community spirit. Cole's fate served as a cautionary tale, urging everyone to embrace compassion and open communication instead of succumbing to fear-driven judgments. In this way, Cole's legacy lived on, not just as a man hanged for crimes he didn't commit, but as a symbol of the need for empathy in times of turmoil. In the years following Cole's tragic fate, his story transformed into a powerful legacy that resonated throughout the village. The bond he shared with horses became a celebrated symbol of love, loyalty, and understanding. Each year, the villagers held a festival in his honor, where they would gather to remember the man who spoke to horses and the lessons learned from his life. During these gatherings, tales of Cole's kindness spread like wildfire, reminding everyone of the warmth he brought to their community. People began to share their own stories of compassion and bravery, fostering an environment where empathy flourished rather than fear. The lingering whispers of regret from those who had judged him too quickly served as a reminder that everyone deserved understanding before being condemned. As generations passed, Cole's name became synonymous with the importance of communication and connection, not only with animals but also among people. His life stood as a cautionary tale against rushing to judgment based on fear and misunderstanding. In this way, Cole was not simply remembered as a man wrongfully accused, but as a beacon of hope for compassion and unity in a world too often clouded by doubt. The legacy of his love for horses continued to inspire all who heard his story, urging them always to seek understanding first.